So there's this perception that they don't have a biological clock, but research actually shows that men in their mid 30s plus actually have higher chances of children with, various disabilities like autism.
Welcome to Biohacking with Brittany, where high performance health meets non-toxic living. I'm Brittany Ford, a holistic nutritionist, bringing you science-backed strategies in biohacking, longevity, and holistic wellness. Whether you're navigating fertility, pregnancy, postpartum, or simply striving for optimal well-being, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Well, welcome back to Biohacking with Brittany. Thank you for tuning into today's episode. I am so excited about this episode. This one is with the founders of the company WeNatal. WeNatal is a prenatal designed basically for men and for women, also supports mamas during postpartum and kind of just like this whole motherhood journey, fertility, pregnancy, postpartum. But what is really, really cool and different about WeNatal is that they focus a lot on men's health. They focus on the sperm and the semen and how does that impact the health of the pregnancy, the birth outcomes, how does that impact fertility outcomes? And so we kind of dive into that whole realm in this episode. This is totally my bread and butter. I went so deep into this world when I was on my own fertility journey. And I even actually created my own course based on this idea of preconception health, essentially fertility optimization. And in every single module of my course, there is a component that focuses on men's health as well. Because really what the research and data shows is that men have a crucial part in this. And they have been left out of the conversation for so long, even though men create new sperm every 90 days is when it comes out. And so there's actually so much they can do to optimize that sperm to create a healthier baby, pregnancy, and everything that we've been talking about. So we dive deep into all of this. And this is the perfect episode for anybody who is on their fertility journey or is pregnant and is kind of confused, even maybe on what prenatal you should take, or you're even in the postpartum phase and maybe you're struggling and you're thinking, should I still be taking my prenatal? What does that look like? And we talk all about that. We talk about the ingredients in the WeNatal supplements for him and for her, how they differ from other leading brands in the market. And we also dive deep into their personal story of like why they developed this in the first place. WeNatal is such a cool brand. I am taking it right now. My husband is also taking it. I am currently 8 months postpartum. So a prenatal in this sense is definitely something that is still on my radar to help replenish my nutrient stores in my body after birth and pregnancy. And honestly, I will probably continue taking it. I don't know. I don't plan to stop anytime soon because I feel better on it and I know my body needs the support. I'm still nursing, so that is definitely something that is it's very valuable to me right now. This episode is so cool. It's just, so exciting. And I'm really excited to hopefully collaborate with WeNatal further this year as I turn my fertility optimization course, which is called Baby Steps, into a coaching program. And that is going to be released not very soon, but kind of in the coming months. It's something I'm working on, a high touch, high proximity, holistic, functional program that helps people and couples get pregnant, stay pregnant, and have a healthy postpartum period as well, without having to turn to things like IVF or IVI or anything like that. There's so much you can do in terms of like nutrition, lifestyle, supplements, biohacks, so much you can do to optimize your fertility for men and for women. And I really found that when I went through that myself, I had to do all of the research by myself, and there wasn't really a lot, or there wasn't one place where I could find everything that I needed to find. And so that is what I've created, and I will be opening for clients very soon. So stay tuned for that. And my husband is actually potentially going to join me. So kind of in relation to this conversation that I had today of the importance of men's health, when I was thinking about how can I support people further and have this high proximity coaching program, one of the things I thought about was, wow, I would love for my husband to come and talk to the men, once a month, whatever it might be, and talk to them about making these lifestyle changes and nutrition changes and what it's like to support a partner who's going through fertility struggles or, who's pregnant or anything like that. So it's a very holistic way of thinking. And yeah, I'm very excited about it. And I think you're going to love this episode. It's very much in line with that. Yeah, so much goodness to come. And I'm so happy to see even just the discussion on preconception health and fertility optimization becoming more and more common. More people are talking about it more. There's more content on social media about it. I see men on TikTok making videos about it, which is so cool, about how they just want to be the healthiest versions of themselves before they get their partners pregnant so that their pregnancy can be better, reduce chances of like preeclampsia or miscarriage or things like that as well. So the ball is rolling and everything's kind of going in the right place. And I'm really excited about that. Before we dive in, a shout out to Novus. This is a very, very cool longevity company, supplement company in the space. I'm actually drinking it right now, which was not planned for this, but they have a powder that targets all 12 hallmarks of aging. So there's different ingredients in there, and every single ingredient is very intentional and is designed to support your longevity on a cellular level. But what I love about Novus is that I actually feel super energized, vibrant, and awake after I drink this right away. So I know that's not actually just working on long-term health and my longevity, which I really care about, but it also just makes me feel more alert and vibrant and energized in the moment, which is awesome. So check out Novus. You can use my discount code and my link, which will be in the show notes and on my website, for a discount of 10% off. And I strongly suggest really trying this if you are somebody who cares about longevity and wants to feel better. It's just one of those supplements that I really recommend to everybody. Helps you feel better, mentally sharp, visibly more youthful, and something that can just support you as you age, no matter what decade you're currently in. And a shout out to Bioptimizers. They create a bunch of cool products, things like probiotics, digestive enzymes, magnesium. One of their most recent supplements that I love is their blend of mushrooms. So they have a powder called Mushroom Breakthrough, and it's got 4 different types of functional mushrooms in it. And it's really, really great for your afternoon slump that you might get in. I like to call it my mushroom milk. I actually make a glass of it every afternoon for me and my husband. And essentially, it is that mid-afternoon pick-me-up that you need. So you add 2 scoops to coconut milk or whatever milk that you're using, and it's got collagen in it as well. But the mushrooms really do help support brain health and get rid of any brain fog, help with mental clarity, help with recall, and help keep you sharp in the afternoon when you might be feeling sluggish and tired. So that's why Bioptimizers, it's called Mushroom Breakthrough. I recently posted that on my Instagram stories and you guys loved it. So check that out. You can use my discount code biohackingbrittany and get 10% off all of their supplements. So check it out. Enjoy this podcast episode. Please follow me on Instagram at biohackingbrittany. Subscribe, leave a review rating of the show. And I appreciate it. And I read everything. So thank you so much. And I will catch you on Friday for another AMA. If you have any health questions, I do AMA, Ask Me Anything episodes every Friday. And every Tuesday, I bring you interviews with top health experts around the world. So enjoy this, and I will see you soon. Welcome to Biohacking with Brittany. Today, we are diving into one of my absolute favorite topics, which is preconception health and fertility, and how we can really optimize that, looking at it through a holistic and more natural lens. I have Ronit and Vida joining me. Sorry, guys, I think I botched your names. These are the founders of WeNatal, the first prenatal supplement designed for both men and women, which is so, so cool. After experiencing pregnancy loss themselves just 1 week apart, they discovered a major gap in the fertility conversation, and that is actually male reproductive health. And they set out to change it, and they are making waves in this space. So welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us. We're so excited to be here.
Yeah. Before we get into like the whole prenatal world and everything like that, I would just love you to briefly kind of walk us through a little bit about your journeys and your stories and how you got to the realization that this actually might be more of a male issue for you than maybe yourselves.
Because we're perfect and, met unbelievable.
Exactly.
So it's a fun story. Ronit and I met in our corporate careers at Nike, actually.
Okay.
Best friends and went through our single dating life together, married around the same time. And when Ronit was having her first child, her first daughter, I actually experienced a miscarriage in which I was very much dismissed, like most of us are, and told that, it just happens. It's very common to keep trying. And, I'm lucky I got pregnant, etc. And so I took that at face value because I knew no different. And after Ronit left her amazing career at Nike, she went on to work in the functional medicine space. And I know we're going to talk more about that. But what happened and where life's journey took us is that in early 2020, I actually had another miscarriage. And of course, you call your best friend first, devastated. But again, I was just told these things happen and I already had one. And it wasn't until Ronit had one actually a week later that we didn't take it as face value. She was dismissed, but becoming from the functional medicine side completely changed our narrative and her research. And she went on the research rabbit hole.
Wow.
So we basically, after I had my miscarriage, I dove into how to optimize for future pregnancy because it really made no sense to me that my conventional OBGYN was saying there's nothing you could do, you're just old. I was 41 at the time, but I didn't feel old, I didn't look old. And so I started to dive into the research, and our biggest aha moment came to us when we learned that men who take antioxidants have a 4 times higher chance getting their partner pregnant and having a live birth. Antioxidants like CoQ10, vitamin C, NAC, vitamin E. And so I called Vida. Well, first I called Vida and we were like, wait, why isn't anybody talking about this? Why don't any men we know take prenatals? And we right away put our husbands on a regimen which we pieced together from all kinds of multivitamins. And that, what we ended up giving them ended up in our men's prenatal. But we both got pregnant naturally afterwards. So that was our own, success stories / beta test of our own, experience. Emma is now 4 and Davina is also 4, her daughter. And so for me, 3 months after putting my husband on the regimen and Vida 6 months after putting her husband on the regimen, got pregnant with healthy children. And so that was our biggest light bulb. And that was the moment where we completely shifted our career trajectory towards launching WeNatal. It was something that we couldn't not do when we learned this information. And, when we learned that men are 50% of fertility success, health of the baby, pregnancy loss, we were like, we need to spread this message because as women, we are told that we are, it's on us, and we take the burden of fertility on our shoulders, and it's truly 50-50. And so that's kind of what spiraled into what today is WeNatal.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And good for you guys for being your first success story. That's amazing. And that's cool that you created a company out of your own success, like your hardship and then success. And now you're helping other people is like, honestly, the way to do it. And I completely agree. Completely agree. Like when we got pregnant and I was talking to my husband about like, hey, like, let's look at our preconception health. And that includes you. Like, I'm not doing this by myself. Like, you got to stop drinking. You got to stop smoking, but whatever you might be doing. There was no one else doing it. Like, none of my friends were doing that. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean you're getting healthy before you start to try to conceive? Like, why don't you just try to conceive? And then if you have any issues, then focus on it. It's like, no, I don't think that's the smart way to do this. Let's have a quick real talk about something many of us don't think about enough: protecting our reproductive health from EMFs. EMFs, which are electromagnetic fields, are around us everywhere, from our phones to Wi-Fi, 5G towers, and even household electronics. But did you know that EMFs can impact sensitive areas of the body, including your ovaries? As women, protecting this vital part of our health is so important, especially if you are planning for your future, thinking about fertility, or maybe any other health issues or concerns you have with your ovaries. That's where Lila Quantum Tech's women's underwear comes in. This is no ordinary underwear, okay? It's infused with pure quantum energy and woven with silver fibers to block over 99% of measurable radiation, including 3G, 4G, and 5G signals. It's like giving your body and your ovaries a protective shield against harmful EMFs while staying comfortable and stylish. Lila Quantum Tech has created something truly special: durable antimicrobial underwear designed with your health and well-being in mind. Whether you prefer brief or bikini style, these are an absolute must for anyone looking to prioritize their reproductive health, which I know so many of us are. And here's the best part: you can get 2 pairs for $77 or 4 pairs for $149. And if you use my discount code biohackingbrittany, you actually get a 10% discount on top of that bundle deal. So seriously, use it so you can save. Your health is worth it. Head to the link in my bio, on my show notes, on my website, and start to protect yourself today, starting from the inside out. Lila Quantum Tech, science meets self-care for every single part of you.
And sadly, that's what most people are doing. They're not taking the few months before to optimize both partner health. And it's actually this golden window of opportunity that we love talking about, because it's not just avoiding miscarriage and avoiding the bad. It's about long-term health of your future children.
Absolutely.
Like, how do you know that you're passing along the best possible DNA to your child? Yeah. And I think that's our biggest message, is that this preconception window is the most important time for both men and women to invest in themselves. And the truth is, sometimes I say, like, it's even more important what you do before than what you do when you're actually pregnant. And we cannot speak about how, first of all, your husband is so lucky that he has, a wife that's a biohacker who's in the know. But that's our biggest message. And, when we go through, yes, it's about taking a prenatal for men and women. It's about nourishing yourself, but it's also about, like you said, avoiding those toxic behaviors, which have become so normalized: marijuana, alcohol, smoking, vaping, and then even some behaviors that are actually healthy, but are not healthy when you're trying to conceive, like getting in the sauna and heat exposure and things like that. So it's having that awareness. And from day one of launching WeNatal, we've just been so focused on sharing what are those, lifestyle hacks that you can do that are actually free. It's optimizing your air quality. It's cleaning out your kitchen, things like that, eating clean food, cooking together. And there's just like so much that people could do. And it makes a big difference.
Oh, yeah. It makes a huge difference. And we can get into the science in a second about it. But why do you think there is like just such a lack of understanding about a preconception period? Like, why is this such a new thing that people are doing? Like, what have you seen, or when you're talking to your people, like, what do they say?
A great question. I think so much of our big aha that no one's looking at men's is just societal history, that women conceive, women carry the baby, and it's all put on us. So when things go wrong, it's also looking at the women. We're given terms like geriatric pregnancy and stuff like that, when really there's this perception that men have no biological clock, which is actually a myth. They do also age, and so does their sperm. And so there's just a lot of, I think, old wisdom that's been passed down that makes it feel like it's on us. And that's what we were shocked. We're like, how is it we're so advanced in so many ways and it's 2020 and yet men are literally not even part of the equation. And stats like Ronit mentioned, the antioxidants that completely help, but also 1 in 4 couples who are trying to go through assisted reproductive technologies like IVF, the male partner is not even checked. And so they're going down very invasive, very tough, and it's still all on the women. And so part of our mission for prenatal was like, in society, we say we're having a baby, we're trying, we're pregnant, but there was very little we that we found. That's what WeNatal's mission is to bring partners or anyone trying to start a family together to do the work, to get their health and body and lifestyle in a more optimal state to really improve your chances of a healthy little human.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. For me, for the men's part, what clicked for me was when I understood the life cycle of sperm. So like men make new sperm every single day, but typically that sperm doesn't actually like come out of them until about 90 days later, right? And so when you think about that, it's like, okay, what can I do for at least 90 days to optimize that sperm, ideally longer, right? If we're talking about like optimizing preconception health, so that that sperm that comes out is like a good swimmer, has the correct morphology, you have a great sperm count. And obviously sperm is just one like aspect to it. But when I understood that, I was like, oh, whoa, like men need to be a part of this conversation because there's a lot you can do to optimize that sperm every single day.
And I actually, to your point on this process of sperm creation, spermatogenesis, it's actually men's superpower, in my opinion. As women, we are born with the eggs that we're born with, and you can actually improve your egg quality, but you're not constantly creating new egg cells. Men are. And so they can completely transform their sperm quality in the span of 90 days. And I think it's such an important piece of information because men can really make or break the health of the pregnancy. And, we're seeing now today these are animal studies that show that sperm quality actually impacts the health of the placenta, which in turn impacts the health of the pregnancy. It can impact gestational diabetes, preeclampsia. There is so much. It's not just about the 50% of the baby, which also is a huge deal, but it's also the health of the pregnancy and the health of mom. So for me, it's a no-brainer. And I will say when we launched WeNatal back, it's almost our 3-year anniversary, nobody was really talking about this. And we didn't know if men were going to be open to this, but we're so excited to say that we have so many couples on WeNatal and that men actually stay on WeNatal after their partner conceives, because when you're improving your sperm, you're also in turn improving your health and vice versa. So sperm health equals health. And actually, new research just came out from Denmark showing that men who had better sperm actually lived 4 years longer than men who had less quality sperm. So in a way, this fertility window that couples are going through is a window of opportunity to optimize your just general longevity.
Which you probably want to do anyway if you're going to bring kids in the world and want to be healthy and, living a really optimized life. And so I think that's what we're excited about coming to the forefront and the research and the education. And back to the why, I generally believe that people didn't know. They didn't know the role that nutrition plays and supplementation plays. And still we hear OBGYNs tell people, take a prenatal, they're all the same. And so there's a lack of education that we're so passionate about sharing. And when we explain it to doctors, they're all in. We have so many incredible reproductive urologists, OBGYNs, fertility docs who are now only recommending WeNatal because I now understand the research is showing the improvements it can make.
Yeah. Yeah, that's incredible. I'm sure you're aware, but in the last month, I think the last month, there's been a trend on TikTok about, and you've probably seen it, about like it's these men who are making these videos and they're like drinking water and working out and looking all buff and fit and healthy and whatever. But the captions or the audio is like talking about this research exactly that you're talking about of like, why wouldn't I do everything I can to optimize my health so that my wife or partner, lower rate of miscarriages or issues with the placenta or whatever.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe the first time I saw it because I was like, wow, like this is the point we're at now. Like the average person, TikToker, is like making a video about how he's optimizing his health and cares about his wife's pregnancy and the baby. And I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Finally, like it's becoming more.
Things are changing. Things are changing, and we're very excited about it.
Yeah. And since we've launched WeNatal, we've seen so many more articles coming out about the fertility crisis, coming out about the decline in men's sperm. And so it's an exciting time where it's coming to the forefront and men are now taking a more active role in how they can help.
Yeah. And I think that's it too, right? It's like 1 in 6 couples struggle with fertility.
Yeah.
And so the fertility crisis is very, very real. And so now there's so much demand for a solution that's not just like IVF that costs thousands and thousands of dollars and the percentage chance of it working is still so low, right? And I've seen a couple of friends go through it and so sad. And it's like, oh, and I want to tell them, hey, like optimize your health for 6 months or whatever. But at the same time, I don't want to, everyone's on their own health journey. So you have to respect it and blah, 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 whatever. But
well, things I wish I could tell everyone. And if I wish I could go back to like when I was newly married, like if you were going to go run a marathon, would you just buy shoes and show up at the starting line? You would actually get a training plan, maybe a coach, maybe change your diet, make sure you're getting protein. Like you would take the steps. And our favorite example is actually how we've both prepped for our wedding day and our baby showers. You spend months idolizing about every aspect, but really this golden time frame is like needs to be that new thing. It needs to be the thing that both partners are excited and putting their best foot forward because it is something that will affect the lifelong health of your children. And if you have a girl, it's multiple generations. You're going to pass it on to your grandchildren too. And so that sense of responsibility everyone should take no matter what stage of life they're in. And also, it's not just fertility. Fertility and health are hand in hand. And so we all want to be healthier and live longer and be more optimal in our later years, So I think it's something to say no matter what your listener's stage of life is in, everyone kind of needs to perk up for the longevity of our future.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You briefly mentioned the male biological clock. I'd love for you to talk about this because I feel like I know a little bit about it, but I'm curious to know more and learn from you.
Well, there's this perception because men produce sperm ongoing for essentially their whole life. And you have celebrities like Mick Jagger and Al Pacino having children in their like 70s and 80s. So there's this perception that they don't have a biological clock. But research actually shows that men in their mid 30s plus actually have higher chances of children with, various disabilities like autism. And so the point of that is not to scare people, but is to show that both men and women age. And when you age, you have reduced mitochondrial function and you have, higher, potentially higher oxidative stress. And it's important to take on the nutrients that can help reverse that. So when we talk about, sperm quality or egg quality, a big nutrient that can really help improve that sperm and egg quality is CoQ10 as an example. So CoQ10 essentially helps support your mitochondria, which is the battery of the cell. It's the in the egg example, it's when your egg before you ovulate, your egg essentially splits. And you want to make sure that you have enough energy so that there's no issues in the DNA that is, part of that egg. So supporting your mitochondria as you age will help ensure that you don't have as much DNA fragmentation in your sperm and then in your egg, that you have, the right amount of chromosomes, because that is what causes miscarriages. So I think all of that to say is that as you age, yes, certain things age, but there's also so much that you could do with targeted nutrients. Same thing with oxidative stress. So sperm is very sensitive to oxidative stress. So think about like your apple turning brown when you cut it in half. But if you put lemon on it, it doesn't do that. It stays beautiful and white. So using your antioxidants like your vitamin C's and things like that will help reduce and slow down that oxidative stress that you get with aging.
Imagine waking up each day feeling energized, mentally sharp, and visibly youthful, no matter your age. I've unlocked exactly that with Novus Core, and it's completely upgraded my approach to longevity. Novus Core is the only longevity supplement that targets all 12 key causes of aging, something no other product does. Most supplements only address one or two aspects of aging, but Novus Core is a complete formula designed to work across all the biological pathways of aging in one simple daily drink. Developed by leading longevity experts from Harvard Medical School and MIT, Novus Core is backed by serious scientific research. What makes Novus Core so effective? It's packed with 12 scientifically validated ingredients like fisetin, glycine, calcium alpha, ketoglutarate, and magnesium, each included at scientifically proven doses. These ingredients work together to protect your DNA, help reduce inflammation and cellular senescence, and support stem cell health, effectively slowing aging at its root causes. And here's something even more exciting. You don't have to wait years to feel the difference. 81% of Novus customers report noticeable improvements in their skin, mood, energy, or sleep within just 2 weeks, with even greater benefits accumulating over time. Since incorporating Novus Core, I've experienced incredible boosts in my energy, honestly, like right away when I'm drinking it, improved sleep, sharper cognition, and balanced moods, and even visibly healthier skin, which we all love. I genuinely feel younger, healthier, and more vibrant every single day when I have this. If you are ready to take your longevity journey to the next level, you can visit novuslabs.com and use my discount code biohackingbrittany for 10% off of your first month subscription of Novus Core. That's novoslabs.com with code biohackingbrittany for 10% off your first month's subscription. Enjoy and let me know what you think. Yeah, I love that example. That's like spot on. And that's very similar to my understanding of the male biological clock as well. I thought it was actually 40s and plus, but it's very interesting that it's mid 30s. And I heard it was, or read that it was related to sperm quality being lesser than, and potentially leading to more learning disabilities in kids or even behavioral problems. Yeah. And I even listened to one podcast that was talking about it and relating it to the increase that we see of autism in society now. And is one of the reasons that there's such an increase in that related to dads just being much older and having kids much older now than what we were doing like 50 years ago, 100 years ago. So it's very interesting stuff. And it's good that you're shedding light on that, because I don't think men even remotely understand that idea.
Totally.
Not all of them, but
Majority.
Yes, exactly. And in terms of the egg quality and the biological clock as well, I actually had someone come on my show last year who specializes in fertility, and he's very interesting, and he doesn't agree that women are born with all of their eggs. He actually kind of debunked it. And he was just saying that, you know, we probably don't know enough about our body and how it works, and we need more research and more science behind it. And B, he was talking about AMH levels increasing. And so I'm so curious if you think maybe there is a possibility that we can increase our egg count, or do you actually think like, no, what we're born with is what we're set with?
Well, I think, first of all, I love that new research is coming out every single day. And I'm sure that we don't know everything that we need to know about human reproduction. But I do think, and our perspective is that, yes, you are every year that goes by, your egg count goes down. And however, everybody focuses on egg quantity because, of course, like when you're going down the route of assisted reproductive technology, you need a lot of eggs, because there is, through that process, a lot of, them die off. And so you need a lot, you need volume. But when you're trying to conceive naturally, it's more about quality and not quantity. And I love that you asked the question about AMH because I actually this morning I got a DM. I have to read it to you.
Okay.
This girl says, my AMH levels for the last year have been low. They were 0.8 and then tested again at the end of December, 0.7. Last week, they were tested again and I got the call. I'm 1.8. 1.8. They increased so much. And the only things I've changed was adding the egg quality supplement. I could cry. I'm so happy. Thank you.
Wow.
And so AMH is an indicator of fertility, and however, there is so much that you could do to improve your egg quality. And, we see in this girl specifically, she was able to increase her AMH. I had a low AMH too before I had my 2 kids. It was at 0.5, and I have 2 healthy kids. And I think that, our biggest PSA about AMH is that it's one factor, and that a lot of times when you go to the doctor and they test you and you have low AMH, it kind of goes into your psyche and then you're like, oh my God, I have infertility. No, you have low AMH. It doesn't mean that you're infertile. It's one piece of information. Now, maybe that piece of information is given to you because that's like your message that you need to optimize and level up your health. And maybe you need something to kind of like push you to eat cleaner, to like get to the gym or to get moving. So I think that my take on it is that we're learning so much every day, but also there is just so much that you could do. And in the formula that we created, we launched it last year, our Egg Quality Plus. It includes CoQ10, alpha lipoic acid, NAC, PQQ, and L-carnitine. And all of these nutrients together help improving egg quality, essentially. And I think if you are worried about pregnancy loss, if you're older, or if you're just like a biohacker and you're like, that going into pregnancy, you want to do everything possible to optimize, like this is for you.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I took all of those ingredients or whatever supplements when I was going through it myself, and I do think they're so important. And I completely agree. I think AMH is one piece of the puzzle, and not to fixate on it, because also on the flip side, you can have very high levels of AMH, and that can actually be an indicator of PCOS.
Yeah.
So it's not this like thing that's set in stone that is a 100% reflection of egg quality and quantity. It's just one test that you can do. And obviously you also have to test like your hormones and FSH and LH and everything else that goes with it as well.
And one other thing, just a PSA for your listeners, I think there is so much, sadly, fear mongering in this world and so much fear and overwhelmness. We've had so many friends and family go through IVF and assisted reproductive technology, or even going in because they don't have a partner yet. And they're just completely scared out of their mind to freeze their eggs. What should I do? And I just want, hopefully, people to feel empowered and less fearful and do what's best for them. It's amazing that we have these technologies. It's brought so much joy to so many families. However, our other, similar to what you said, it is a lot of money. It's not 100% proven. And there's so much you could do, even if you're going to do IVF, to improve your chances of both partners putting forward the best possible egg and sperm. And so it's hard to say when you don't have the kids and you so desperately want it. And we're all having kids later in life. We're all amidst this toxic soup of the world we're living in.
Yeah.
Not feel overwhelmed, but a lot of the terms, a lot of the doctors, even assisted reproductive technology, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, right? 20 plus billion.
20 billion.
And some of it is that they are quotas and they are trying to freeze more eggs and freeze more sperm. And you have to do your own research and be your own advocate. If that's right for you, great. But also don't let people scare you into something you do or don't want to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're spot on. I recently saw that I don't know if, I doubt the US has this, but in Canada, there is, I think there's like a tax write-off now if you do IVF, for one cycle per year. So like it can reduce how much taxes that you pay, every year when you go out to pay your taxes. And I saw that and I was like, I guess this is great on one hand because you're helping because it's so expensive. But then on the other hand, I'm just like, why? Like, this is not what we should be focusing on. We should be focusing on like education so that you don't even need IVF.
Yeah.
Like where are the government programs that do that, or the speakers, or the resources really for people, or even like resources for like a prenatal or a WeNatal, right? Like, why do I have to pay tax on my thing that's going to actually help me get pregnant through this supplement, right? Like, anyway, this is just like a government.
We completely agree, though. We completely agree, and we want to help and empower communities because there is so much they can do. And, we appreciate modern technology, but we do want to empower people if that's the way they choose and want to try to put the best foot forward. There is a lot of optimism in this space.
Yes, absolutely. I do want to dive into functional medicine in a second, but I just had this thought. When you were talking to your partners about taking these nutrients, what was their reaction? Like, were they like, oh yeah, I will do anything you want me to do? Or was there like hesitation there?
I think after you experience a loss as a couple, it is truly, for me, it was probably the first time in my life where I ever felt so devastated. And my husband as well, sometimes we forget about them. They also experienced the loss. And I think after going through something so traumatizing, they were completely on board. Now, did I have to spoon feed my husband them? Yes. Did I have to put it out on like a little napkin every morning next to his breakfast? Yes. So I think it's, they were on board. And, with WeNatal too, like we didn't know, are the men going to be into this? But they are. And, I remember maybe 6 months after we launched we have all of our subscribers get a free nutrition consult with a functional medicine dietitian. And it's something that we just wanted to make sure that we so believe in the power of food as medicine that we wanted to be able to give it to our customers for free. And 6 months after launching, our head nutritionist, Lisa, called us and said, you guys are not going to believe it. We actually had a man show up alone to a nutrition consult. And we were so excited. We saw that things were changing, that the message was getting out there, that men are starting to take ownership. And we see it obviously now. We see it like more and more, and couples showing up together. And it's just been so, so great.
And refreshing also. So much of our mission was that women don't feel alone in the journey, that women really feel empowered to do this together with their partner or with their community, however they're starting their family. But it's refreshing also so that women aren't taking the burden by themselves.
Yeah.
Exciting. exciting to see the shift happening before our eyes.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's incredible that you're helping people with their habits as well. And
Yeah.
it's not just like, oh, take this supplement, it's going to fix your problems. It's like, no, like we do actually need to talk about your lifestyle and your nutrition, um, your substances that you're intaking as well. And like you said, heat. So did you kind of like have a holistic plan that you put your partners on as well in conjunction to the supplements in the beginning?
Yeah, definitely. I think like for us it's like, the clean eating, making sure that we were like really focused on balancing our blood sugar, prioritizing protein, prioritizing movement, even doing it together, like going on walks after meals. And then it's like all the things that they don't necessarily have to like in my case, like cleaning out your house, taking it to the next level, like really like the cleaning products and the toxins that are lurking in your kitchen and your bathroom and all of those things. Those are things that we did as well, but that are just like kind of, I would say for my husband at least, like easier because I was the one who was like making the changes in the house and the environment that we both lived in. So
Nice. I love that. And he's very lucky to have you
Well,
because
because like not all of us have the functional medicine background. I was so blessed that my best friend was so immersed. He was also working alongside Dr. Mark Hyman, who's an amazing functional medicine practitioner. And so one by one, she would teach me, hey, get rid of that pan in your house. Like, hey, do that. And like, it seems overwhelming at once, but if you slowly do it as you run out of stuff, Ronit was always educating me. And I got the benefit of learning it through her. And it completely transformed my health, my husband's health. And I was able also to have that baby girl that I so desperately wanted. So,
yeah.
so much you could do, but take it step by step so you don't get overwhelmed and like give up, from the start.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And it's like everything you're talking about is exactly what is in the course that I created. And when I was thinking about how do we do this and make it stick, I created like, I think it's like 6 habits that you do every single day for that like minimum 90-day period. And it was very much designed for me and my husband in mind to think like, how do I simplify this? Right? Like, how do I get him to stick to some daily habits, but that have a huge long-term impact, right? So like we're skipping the processed food. We're not doing takeout food. We're not doing alcohol for 3 months, like all of these other things. And it worked. And then we also took a bunch of the nutrients you're talking about when we actually tripled his sperm count within 3 months because we did a bunch of testing before and after.
And we've heard a lot of that from our reviews and from our customers. They say the proof is in the labs, but some of their men did nothing differently except take WeNatal for him. Literally no lifestyle modifications. And they saw their sperm parameters double, some triple. And so that just shows that opportunity, this unique ability they have. And if this is a fun insurance policy that's a pretty low hanging fruit. And then of course we recommend all the amazing things you can do, home, mind, body, all of it.
Oh, totally. Oh yeah. Like plastics in the home. Like you said, like all the
clean water. There's just like low hanging fruit that you can still modify in your home to make sure at least like the touch points you can control, right? We can't always control the air quality outside or maybe our exposures when we eat out, but at least in your own home, you can get rid of all the plastics and pick better items.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I like 100% agree. Do you continue to work with couples after they give birth? Like, is there in the postpartum phase, do you focus on that at all and try to support them as well?
We do. So WeNatal was designed with pre, during, and post in mind. For us, like it made the most sense for our formula to be one formula that supports each stage of pregnancy. And so, like, let's use choline as an example. Choline is a nutrient that is crucial for baby brain development, and it's missing from a lot of prenatals or has a very, very low dose. WeNatal has 400 milligrams of choline, which supports pregnancy and breastfeeding time frame. Because when you're breastfeeding, you need 450 milligrams. Women on average are getting 180 from their diet. So we just wanted to make sure that there's like enough in there for those who are like maybe not eating eggs, who are not eating, animal products and things like that. And it's crucial. Choline improves attention in children. It improves like their brain development. And so it's really important that women who are breastfeeding, know that what they put in their body is impacting their baby. Same with iron. Iron is an important nutrient that a lot of women in the postpartum phase are depleted because of giving birth. They bled so much, and just the process of the pregnancy. A lot of women become iron deficient in their third trimester. So our prenatal has an iron in it that is a patented iron that doesn't cause constipation. It's the most absorbable form. So it's super important. And we talk a lot about postpartum and thriving in postpartum in our blog, on social. So we do put out a lot of information. And actually, we recently launched a masterclass. If you go to wenatal.com/masterclass, you can get access to 11 experts. And one of the episodes is with Kelly LeVeque, who talks about how to thrive in the postpartum stage. And she talks a lot about, focusing on protein and eating, about 120 grams of protein a day. She focuses on building muscle. And so we talk a lot about that because it's super important. We need that energy when our little ones are there.
Almost also, you're sleep deprived and maybe breastfeeding and doing all these things. And so it's so important to not stop supplementing for mom and dad.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I feel like that's like the hill that I die on when I talk to people, is like so many people just stop their prenatal after they give birth.
You're like,
and then I'm like, what do you mean? Stop. Continue to take it. And then, when, especially if I talk to friends or even people online, women who are struggling mentally as well, like postpartum depression or anxiety, OCD, these things that are talked about so much now. And it's like, are you still taking your prenatal? Like, are you getting those methylated B vitamins that help with the nervous system, that help with stress management? And a lot of them just
things that you mentioned are typically depletion of certain nutrients versus like people thinking they need medication because they might have depression, so they're, again, empowering the pre and the proactive way versus, letting yourself fall apart, which honestly, after my first pregnancy, I had a lot of those symptoms. I didn't know the importance of these nutrients.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. There's a good book. You've probably read it. It's called, I think it's called Postnatal Depletion. Or
yes.
By the guy in Australia. And
which they say can last like 7 years.
Yeah. And he talks about like the difference between postnatal depletion and postpartum depression. And so often we just think it's depression and we say, here, take this pharmaceutical.
Correct.
Mama's going to feel better now, take a Xanax, whatever it might be. But you're actually just depleted. Your stores are depleted in your body.
Yeah. Such an important point.
Yeah. And it's great that like you guys have a supplement that can really, really support with that. And you're putting out content about it, which is equally as important.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where do you think the fertility world is going now? Like in the next 5 years? Like, I think we're talking more and more about infertility, but at the same time, the rates of infertility are highest that they've ever been. So
that's such an interesting question. And my hope is actually now that we are experiencing this MAHA movement, Make America Healthy Again. And I know you're in Canada, but generally speaking, I feel like what goes on here impacts like the rest of the world. There is a bigger focus on, prevention of chronic disease. And there is at least that discussion taking place within, big brands and things like that. And my hope is that, obviously what we're seeing with the fertility crisis, we're seeing the same thing with chronic disease. And so as we kind of work through, a solution or solutions, I hope that it trickles down to fertility. And I think too, for Vida and I, like we see so much hope with, when we were talking about men's fertility 3 years ago, people would look at us like they were shocked. Nowadays, there is more of that narrative out there. There are more brands out there that actually have a men's prenatal, and we're so grateful for them. We can't do this all on our own. And it's very exciting to see that men are, open to this. And so I definitely do feel a sense of optimism. And I definitely think that with everything that's happening from a company, like brands, company, corporation perspective, and kind of, overall, like the government, I definitely see kind of like a light at the end of the tunnel.
Nice. Yeah, I agree. I think it's slow. It's a slow process, it feels like. But at the same time, we have like companies like yours that have been around for a few years now, and you're making waves. I also saw who maybe you should actually talk to. There is what are they called? There's an at-home sperm test you can get now. I have it over here. It's got a funny name. Yeah. Anyway, I saw them on TikTok, but it's the exact same thing of like, let's take a look at men's fertility. Instead of you going to your doctor, you can just order the test at home.
Yeah.
Send us the results. And
Is it Fellow or Legacy?
No, it's I have it down there. I can take a look after this. I know the logo, it's green. It's got such a funny name. But anyway, they're all over TikTok, and it's just like, that's the thing, is like, let's take control of our own health and take responsibility for our own health. Yeah. And when we have supplements that come out or tests that come out, we have more power to be able to do that now more than ever.
We agree. We love that.
Yeah.
That is power. And so they're making it easy. It's coming to your home. It's not invasive. And so it's an easy way to really, put your best foot forward.
Yeah. Which is important, because even before, when we tried to get my husband's sperm tested before we were going to start trying, we had some pushback of like, why do you need to get tested? You're not having any issues.
Yeah.
It's like, well, no, we want to know what we're working with here. Again, like, why do we have to advocate so much for ourselves with our doctors? Like, yeah.
But I think that's a good point too, is also like, I always say to people, it's really important to find doctors that speak the same language as you. And it's not always easy, but like finding somebody that's like respectful of you and your point of view. And I know, like, same thing with like pediatricians, finding a pediatrician that's like not going to shame you for, trying to like do a few things naturally before using antibiotics. And we've all been through the motions with like different types of doctors. And like when you're trying to conceive, finding like an OBGYN that can be like a partner for your journey and support you is so important.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't have said it.
A lot of them, by the way, are not going to be like, they're not going to know the nutrition stuff because they didn't learn it in medical school. But all you need is a doctor that's open to learn. Mm-hmm. And, now I'm really good friends with my OBGYN, and, she's been my OB for 15 years. She's actually in our masterclass as well. And she said to me in the masterclass that she learned so much from me as a patient, and she appreciates me, and she feels like she's where she's at today because of me. So like, you can also influence your doctors, and, by asking questions, by sharing research, and, things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so exciting, and good for you. She's lucky to have you.
Thank you. Thank you. We're lucky to have each other.
Yeah.
But advocating for your own health is a key message that everyone needs to hear, because if you want to do it and you have it's so important. I just wish more people felt empowered to do so and didn't back down to sometimes medical professionals who are just unaware or don't know. Yeah.
It's really hard. It's really hard when you're kind of swimming against the mainstream, and intuitively you're like, oh, this decision feels right for me and my partner, my life, my family, whatever, but it's against what your doctor says or against mainstream. Like, it's so hard.
It's hard, but sticking to your gut, it's going to pay off.
Yes, exactly. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. This was amazing.
We had so much fun. We love geeking out on all topics. Sperm, conception, biohacking. So we speak the same language, and thank you for what you're doing with your podcast and your platform.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we really do. And if people want to order your WeNatal, like one of your supplements, or even take one of your master classes, where can they do that and how can they connect with you?
So they can find everything on WeNatal.com, and on social, we're at we_natal. And yeah, DM us. We love answering questions. We respond to things. On the website, you can find the masterclass. It's free, completely free, 11 experts. And we'll look forward to hearing from your listeners.
Awesome. I will link all of that in the show notes and on the website so everyone can find you easily. And yeah, thank you again.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning into Biohacking with Brittany. If you love this episode, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone on their own wellness journey. Stay connected with me on Instagram at BiohackingBrittany for more on high performance health, non-toxic living, and the latest in biohacking. Until next time, keep striving for your healthiest, most vibrant self.